Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 357. Let's see who shows up here. Sure, it will be only the most fantastic of champions. Okay, and so I'm just going to jump in and draft this Zed. I think I've probably mentioned a couple videos ago that it feels like it's been a while since we've drafted Zed. This is one of my all-around favorite champions, and this is a pretty fantastic start for him, starting with the Green Glade duo and the Sparring Student. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. He might realistically be the champion that we've drafted the least recently. That honor actually probably falls to Darius, since we never draft multiple copies of Darius, but I'm really on board with just taking this Zed today. And so we'll take a moment and get him pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar with it, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep all of my expedition related content. And I do know that over here I just actually updated the tier list yesterday. The expedition guide page for Zed is up and running. This is what I intend to have going on for the future of the expedition guides, as opposed to just using the expedition helper that we have over here on the main page. Typically, we would drop our way down to Zed, pick up the discipline card pool and talk about it here. This is what I'm going to come back to because I feel like this works a little bit better for my videos. But all of this can be found on the expedition guide page, and so Zed's card pool lives up here. The next drop down has the 3-minute guide. This is the video for the discipline set. Zed is also in Shadows and Dust, and so we've got the Shadows and Dust card pool, the Shadows and Dust 3-minute guide, and then a couple of decks that we typically build to with Zed. And so these I'll actually be talking about a little bit more here, but I try to put together this little infographic of the cards that I think are pretty important, and the kind of bullet points for drafting the Elusives deck. Got a nice 7-win video to go along with it, and then the same thing applies for the tokens deck. And so this is the route I plan on taking for these expedition guides. It takes quite a bit of time to get all these things together, and so it's unfortunately not something that I can just push forth all at once. Have to do it kind of in pieces, but that's where things are going. The times are changing, and that's what we're doing. And so, at any rate, we're over here with this Discipline Zed. Kind of the idea behind this card pool is it's meant to be a hand buff style thing, and so you're going to see the things like Inspired Mentor to give a unit +1 attack. You've got the 3/1 bro. I can't even remember his name anymore. Greenglade Elder, giving everything in your hand +1/+1, and then you have the likes of the Sown Seeds is a burst spell. You have Jeweled Protector up at the top end, and it's like I get it. I just don't really like pursuing this, and so the way I kind of look at it is if you want to use what do you call it? I keep losing it. The the Inspired Mentor. There you go. If you want to say like use Inspired Mentor, these are fine. But ultimately, my problem with a card like Greenglade Elder is that, let's say we play a unit on 1 and a unit on turn 2, then we want to play the Elder on turn 3, then we're already down 2 cards that we can potentially give the bonus to. And so if we also have like spells in our hand, if we have the kind of typical kind of like 3-to-1-ish ratio of units to spells, then we're probably also packing a couple spells in our hand. There's usually only like 2 cards that he can give the bonus to. So I don't really like chasing this down. I don't really like doing the thing where you're trying to buff Navori Highwayman. I don't think any of this is very good. And so the things I do like to chase down here are Elusives. This is far and away the strongest thing that you can be doing with Zed. The Green Glade Duo is just a super high class unit. Young Witch is another extremely high powered early game play. And so we try to just be like ultra aggressive and get these Elusives in here. And so when it comes down to this deck, though, the things you do have to keep in mind, Zed is a extremely good aggressive champion, but he doesn't have elusive. He's the only champion that kind of like gets away with this about not caring that he doesn't have elusive, because he just takes so much work to deal with anyways. But the way we'll kind of like see these games play out, and what is kind of like easy to visualize in your mind is, say we start with who are you called? The 1-drop. Navori Blade Scout. This gets an attack in and then immediately just trades away. So it's kind of done with combat. On turn 2, we get our Green Glade Duo. And then let's say on turn 3, we play like a Shadow Assassin. And so we've just gotten this curve of all elusive units. And say our opponent's curving out as well. Opponents played a 1, a 2, and a 3. You have to assume that your opponent's 2 and a 3 just doesn't have elusive. And so let's say it's like turn 4 now. And we just add any rando dude. We play Kinku Wayfinder, right? Our opponent's going to be like ready and able to interact with this thing, and so these ground units start to be like worse and worse as the game goes on. And so we really don't want our late game plays to have to interact with our opponent's board. And so let's say that we have like the super efficient 7/7 for 5 mana, but that's all it does. It's just going to be so easy for our opponents to like throw a 2-drop in front of it and throw a 3-drop in front of it and just not care. So it won't get anything done. So the kind of the big thing with these is, as far as your top end and your late game goes, you either need it to have elusive, and so you're going to find things like Usari, you'll find the Empyrean, you'll find Windfarer Hatchling, or you at least need to be using things like Jeweled Protector that can give the +3/+3 to another elusive unit. And so that's kind of the big deal here. Basically look really heavily for elusives. You're not going to have any removal spells, so you're stuck using Will of Ionia and Homecoming. And then, you want your combat tricks to be on the cheaper side of things. It's not hard to win a combat if you're able to like rush a unit. But having to spend a twin disciplines to just win a combat gets to be pretty expensive. And so, let's see. Not a bad start though. And then, as far as these go, these cards really aren't on theme. If we wanted to chase down the tokens, we could take the Geomancy Talia, but that's just not something I'm really willing to consider here. So what I'm going to actually be taking here is this Raiding Party Sejuani. I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot within this card pool that's going to particularly synergize with Zed. But the big thing we'll see with these Sejuani units, and especially with the 3 that we're getting here from the start, is that they all have Overwhelm. And so, kind of, circling back to our example of our vanilla 7/7 unit for 5 mana that just attacks and gets blocked over and over again. At least our units with Overwhelm can go over top of our opponent's cheapo units, and so nice little boost that we can get out of these Overwhelms. But let's take a peek at the Sejuani pool real quick. I'm not intending on drafting towards Sejuani, but I do want to know, what kind of top end lives here and the combat tricks, and if the things like Elixir of Iron live here. I was curious if the surprised to see. Oh, there's Shared Spoils. I was curious if Shared Spoils lived here as well, because this can actually work out pretty fantastically with our elusives, right? As far as Greenglade Elder is concerned, the unit has to be in your hand, which is kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. But as far as Shared Spoils goes, it just puts the top units on your deck, so it should be pretty useful as far as hitting on units that we're about to draw. And so otherwise, the Elixir of Iron's great. There's a lot of real duds in here, like Ice Shards. Things like Spoils of War we're not really looking for, but you can see at least a lot of the units have Overwhelm. The Mighty Poro, Ruthless Raider, Wolf Rider, Ursine Spirit Walker is probably not ultra relevant, but he has Overwhelm, the Yeti. So we do at least have some of these late game plays we could get some usage out of here, but there's not a whole lot of real strength going on as far as synergies go. But realistically, if you're looking to build towards elusives, you're not looking for another faction. You really want to be all in Ionia. Okay, and then this is a perfect Discipline pack. It's got a Greenglade Duo in it. I haven't gone on and on about Young Witch. It's a card that I really love. You tend to have a lot of draws with this deck to where you say you play, like if you want to imagine like 2 different curves, so say you play a turn 1 Navori Blade Scout, that was the 2/1 that gets elusive for a turn, and then on turn 2 you play a Greenglade Duo. So your Blade Scout's just kind of like done for now, right? He's probably going to get outclassed very quickly. He's just kind of sitting around and hoping that he has a way to get returned to your hand. It's not going to do a whole lot. But if you have Young Witch, turning your Navori Blade Scout into a 3/1 quick attack turns it back into being a real attacker again. And so I do really love the Young Witches. They're incredibly powerful units. And then we've got the Flurry of Fist highlighted here. Which is a means to give one of your units double attack. And so you have to be like a little bit clever with Flurry of Fists, because if you want to say attack with a Young Witch and then Flurry of Fists the unit, you need your opponent to actually block first. And so these can be a little awkward to get going, since if you play this like you attack and then play this, the Flurry of Fist happens before the support does, so you don't get the double attack. That's why you have to have a blocker first. But given the ability to give something like Greenglade Duo double attack is pretty humongous. Okay, alrighty. Well, we don't have any Ionia packs here, which is kind of awkward, but we do get to pick up the Omen Hawk, which is typically pretty spectacular in these. If you've been playing around since the beginning of Runeterra, you'll understand that this is the way that the Zed decks actually used to build themselves. Zed decks used to basically be an allegiance deck to Ionia, but they would play 3 Omen Hawks and then play a handful of Elixir of Irons or Brittle Steels. These do play fantastically here, especially if we're able to pick up Navori Conspirators to put these back on top of our hand and replay them. And of course, Erosion Trapper is just a high quality 3-cost unit. Not a bad pickup. Okay, then not a super exciting set of units here, but I'm going to pick up the Sparring Student and the Lifeblade. I don't really like Lifeblades. I didn't speak to all the different elusive decks that you can really build, and I don't think the Kinku Lifeblade-based elusives decks are very good anymore. But you're typically either building towards a Greenglade Duo and being aggressive, or you're going to build towards a Kinku Lifeblade and try to make like a 5/5 or a 6/6 elusive lifesteal that your opponent can't race through. But we still have the means to at least make this unit useful here. Okay, and then a pretty weak set of cards. We're again no interest in drafting Bilgewater. I don't really want to pick up Mina either. These games shouldn't be going to turn 9. If the game goes to turn 9, we've probably already lost anyways, and we're probably not winning with Mina. Like, as far as these really late game elusives go, we really want the Empyrean or the Windfarer Hatchling, since they can come down and just attack. Mina has trouble winning games. And so Inspired Mentor is fine. I don't really want the Swole Squirrel, but picking up these 1-drops is pretty powerful. Okay, and again, I'm going to kind of shy away from Freylord. I wouldn't be opposed to picking up some Brittle Steels or Elixir of Irons or some of the cheap combat tricks, but we have one of the high-valued elusives here in the Conspirator, along with one of the more expensive tricks. And so as we end up sitting around getting into races, the Spirit's Refuge can be pretty important just to stall the game out for us a little bit. Okay, and then here the Succumb to the Cold resistance is just garbage. We can easily skip over these. This is a little awkward of a set here, because the Navori Highwayman is extremely bad, but the best card out of all 4 of these for us will be the Inspired Mentor. And so it's kind of one of these things. Do you want like one really good and one really bad, or do you want 2 mediums? Man, these Highwaymen are just always so dead. But I don't want like Icevale Archers here. I don't think that we're going to have the means to be doing much very much challenging, and so we'll just pick up the Mentor. Okay, then this should be a reasonably easy Fey Guide. This is pretty good at closing out these games. We are going to get stuck with like Erosion Trappers and Enraged Yetis, and again, as we talked about, our vanilla 7/7 for 5 with no way to get in damage, the Fey Guide gives us the means to get these units in for damage. Okay, an interesting set. I'm not interested in the Tarkaz Elixir of Iron. I'm looking at the Ancient Yeti Harsh Winds. Harsh Winds is just, incredibly powerful spell, whether or not it's out here just like 2-for-1ing one of your attacks or blanking your opponents for like 9 damage off an attack. Extremely good. And then the Ancient Yeti is, pretty decent top end. It can come down quickly enough to be, a relevant closer. And then over here, we just have the more standard thing of Conspirator Twin Disciplines. I think I'm actually just going to come in and take this Harsh Winds. These are pretty difficult to come by, and this is a pretty good set of units here. Okay, oh man, this is our first Young Witch, and we're probably just going to have to pass on it. So let's take a peek here. Can we actually draw? What can we draw with Babbling Bjerg? We have basically just Sejuani and the 2 Yetis. So not super strong, but I am quite interested in this Shared Spoils. But it's just too much for me, man. Oh God, but I hate the Highwayman so much. This is just not a good Runeterra card. So all right, we'll give the Shared Spoils a try. I think that should work out pretty reasonably here. Okay, and so here we of course never want the War Mother's Call. This is just way too expensive. I'm kind of interested in Usari. He is typically the top end that I prefer. He's a little bit cheaper. There's not a whole lot of difference in playing a 4/3 elusive for 5 or playing the 6/5 that you would get out of the Empyrean for 7. And I tend to just want to be more aggressive, and so I usually lean on taking Usaris. But this is kind of our, we're really light on spells here, and I do like this 3 Sisters Troll Chant opportunity that we're getting picked up here on the right pack. And so I'm going to pick the combat trick since our deck is a little imbalanced here. Then all right, with this one, we don't want the Tall Tales pack. This is too weak. So if we're getting an Inspired Mentor either way from the left or the right pack, we want to just go ahead and take the Twin Disciplines over the Mentor, or over the Deny. Ooh, yeah, I think I swallowed a bug or something there. That's weird. All right, back to it. Interesting set here as well. I don't really want the Greenglade Elder again. I'm not very high on this unit. We don't have any, real late game bounce spells. The Homecoming would be, particularly good here, especially since we have things like the Trapper and the Omen Hawk. It's very easy to get some extra value out of this. But again, the Elder's pretty weak. I'm kind of interested in the Trapper Yeti Yearling. Just in these Abrosian Trappers are so extremely good. You tend to still be able to run over the board even if you are, playing units that don't have elusive, and so that's who I'm kind of leaning towards taking here. I think we should be able to pick up a Homecoming through trade picks, but I don't think we're going to be seeing too many more of the opportunities to pick up these trappers. Okay, then here, very good. We can trade out the Yearling for Greenglade Duo, just the absolute best unit that we can find for our deck. Okay, alrighty. So, as you know, it's time to make something premium. We might have something here in the common slot. We got another week or so before the new cards come out. So let's take a peek real quick if any of these commons are in our deck. I think we managed to skip over all of the Navori Highwaymen. That's the typical FTP bust way to draft things. And then I think we do have a handful of these. I know we have at least a Spirit's Refuge. I can't remember if we got Twin Disciplines or not. So we'll definitely just line up the Spirit's Refuge here. Should definitely help us win an extra race or two towards the end of the draft. So, all right, yeah, not bad. So got some nice little Zed synergies. The sparring students aren't super strong here, but yeah, I think we're strong enough. The way I typically describe Zed is he's like typically good enough to just win like 2 games on his own. Just like these games where it doesn't really matter what you do, but you just like played Zed and like he attacks on turn 3 and your opponent has to like block it just to stop him from flipping, and then he just runs over the game. You typically have at least one, typically about 2 of those, and then the rest of the time he's just strong in general. Alrighty, so let's see what we can do here. The Ruthless Raider should be a reasonable keep. We'll have to see how much blade dancing this guy's doing, but seeing the Irelia makes me want to hang on to the Ruthless Raider so that we just have this continual blocker for the blades. And otherwise, not a bad mulligan. All right, well, we'll get blockers down eventually. Blocking's not something we really plan on doing a whole lot of. Oh, the Conspirator. Gross. Okay. Let's see if he throws this Marauder back down or plays something a little bit more expensive. All right, I think this is enough. If he has this can be like a little dangerous in the sense that if he has a shaped stone, he can trade the shaped stone for our sparring student. But I'm ultimately like not upset about that. We're just trading our 1 mana card for his 1 mana card. All right, sparring student part 2. We're doing more tokens than the token deck is. There is an argument that we should have just banked mana here because the sparring students aren't going to be particularly good next turn. But I think this is okay. This is still looking like a pretty decent open attack, especially if we draw a Yeti. Alright, well this is cheap enough to get our sparring students leveled up a bit while still playing Spirit's Refuge. You're just going to get hit with a Spirit Fire. That's kind of abysmal. Looks to be the case. Oh, interesting. Very weird do nothing. Okay, the tomb makes sense. Alright, let's just run it all out. Alright, I'm not super worried about that. And I think we have the option to Sejuani next turn, but would we rather just be open attacking? Probably not. Still want to get the bonus onto our sparring students before we go in.
Feel no fear, show no mercy. Words to die by. The sun disk shines on us all.
Okay. We could have punched through for more damage if we would have put, say, the Marshal in front of Sejuani, but they tend to just have like so many bounce spells in these decks. I don't want to be like ultra clever as far as trying to get these Sejuani overwhelms is concerned.
Who blesses you? You seek an audience?
Yep. Let's deploy a big boy and let the turn go. Not like really worried about this Sandswept Tomb. Like, what's going to happen? We're just going to block it with a sparring student that we don't care about anymore. Like, this is completely fine.
You own what you take.
Okay. And as I was talking about the races and such, this is a spot where these Spirits Refuges tend to be pretty good. Being able to just blank a blocker and then get the +6 health off of this thing. I don't think we're going to be dead here without adding a Conspirator. You probably have to be a little bit more careful. I don't want to just die to a combat trick. If he has a combat trick, we can't block far enough to the right. Right? If, say, he had a combat trick for the Conspirator, then blocking down on the Chronomancer with the Spirit's Refuge Soul Scrolls is not good enough. Okay, so we're getting in front of this thing. Don't care about these, don't care about these. It's good. Alright, then we found ourselves kind of in the same spot as the previous turn, as to where, like, if he has a bounce spell, then we're not lethal here anymore. And so I think I do want to try and get our Life Blade going. This is a 3 damage that he has to either play an elusive or have a bounce spell for, so he kind of has to hit this from 2 different directions. We also have the mana to Fury of the North out of 3 Sisters if we need to go about it that way. I guess this is kind of like little to big enough. Our opponent could also have these Spirits Refuges, and so we want to like push his blocks to the left so that he has to block our smallest damage units with the things that he's going to give lifesteal to. But we'll see if it's relevant here or not. Seems like a turn he could have a homecoming from the Blade Scout onto the Life Blade. Yep. Fury of the North. This is exactly why we wanted to play our units. Right, if we just attack with these 3, then he would be playing Homecoming onto Sejuani, and we wouldn't have a kill this turn. Right, good game, friend. Good game. Alright, let's go here and snatch up this Zed pack real quick. Not bad, not bad. Again, Yusari's good top end and it has a 1-drop in it. I'd really prefer if we had some young witches to go along with our 4 inspired mentors, but hopefully we'll get to trade into a couple at least. Ooh. Yeah, I'm like pretty sure I ate a bug. It just like hit my throat and it just like stopped working. Ugh. Swear I'm not gross. our apartment is clean and stuff. So, oh man, as soon as I hit start, the lawn crew's rolling around outside. That's not convenient. I'm just gonna stop the mic real quick. Can't tell if it's playing through or not, anyways. All right. Well, it looks like the mic bar is dropping down, so maybe it's not actually coming through. But as far as this hand goes, this is fairly awkward in that uh, we want to get the mentor onto the green glade, but we want to play the sparring student this turn. But this will be fine. Okay. He's probably just never attacking with this, or if we get to trade the inspired mentor for a combat trick, that's completely fine. Okay. And not worth adding in the sparring student here. Gives him an opportunity to play a 3/3 or something. Let's just bank this one and see what he adds. All right. Well, we should be able to combat with the Battlesmith. This is a pretty easy troll chant. Cool. Alright, so we get the opportunity to turn all these sparring students into big boys. This should be a pretty decent turn for us. But these, the Omen Hawk has a lot of health. Blade Scout's not going to get blocked. Pretty good. And even flurry of fists, should we so desire. I think this this dude's about to get blown out without knowing it. Gonna put like the Badger Bear in front of Sparring Student. We're gonna get some troll chants on these bros. I think this is gonna be good. Alright, so we're definitely gonna troll chant these middle two. So let's give the block. We need to give, I guess the 0-2 needs to go here, the -2 needs to go onto the tracker. Okay. Not bad. We're going to lose our Green Glade duo this turn, but we can hopefully overwhelm through the game at this point. This is an interesting attack out of the Badger Bear. Not going to block. What you run into in these spots is if he has a combat trick, then he's still going to have an additional blocker next turn, but if he's not able to fill out his board with units, then we have a chance to be wider than him. Here, the Babbling Bjerg was the one that... Oh, no, we drew the Bjerg. That makes sense. Okay. For 3, it's a little short. But I think I would rather be playing 2 units this turn as opposed to just adding Sejuani. This repping lethal here as well, now that we've added these, the big overwhelm. Probably gonna be 1 short if he puts a Vanguard Redeemer in front of it, but we'll see. Again, we should be getting a decent flurry of fists this turn. I have to rearrange this. I don't think he realizes the Yeti's lethal over a 4. Okay, so Try and protect the Bjerg. Still feels like he has a combat trick. It seemed like he wanted to get some combating happening with the Badger Bear last turn. Yeah, this is fine. Pretty far ahead on board here. See, this is why I like these. I was happy enough to pick up these Sejuani-based overwhelms here. Just being able to overwhelm through this stuff is pretty nice.
For our allies,
It's out. Why would you do this? You're out of mana. You can't do anything.
prove your worth.
Okay. We're going to be a little bit wider than him as well. Works for me. So it seems like he could have like a single combat or something here, but I think we're looking pretty good. I guess Judgment would have been the big blowout that we needed to be mindful of. I mean, I don't really like to play around Judgment, but there's a world where maybe we shouldn't attack with the non-elusives, but it's just so much easier to have a single combat than it is to have a Judgment. So happy enough to get everybody in there. Alright, what do we got here? We never want to pick up the sown seeds. Don't want the Spirit Walker, it's going to be pretty meh. These Yetis are fine here, but trading out the Highwayman for Usari feels pretty good. I guess we did have one of these. We just had the one copy. We could have turned that guy premium. Yay. Right along. Haven't even seen Zed. Feels pretty good when you're able to cruise through some of these games without even drawing the most powerful card in your deck. So, good deal. What up, sea monsters? Okay, there he is. Speaking of the devil, get to pick up our Zed. I don't think we want to keep Trappers, but I do want to keep the Yeti and just go ahead and get his cost cheapening up. Well, if I knew we were going to draw the other Yeti in a 4, I would have taken the mulligan, but this will have to be okay. Can't do anything. We drew all of our top end. Alright, Zed, you're going to have to do some work. Typically, like, I'm not super upset about this if you have the means to just play a combat trick. But we don't have the protection for our Zed with this banked mana. We just have to run him out and hope for the best. Like, should be okay here. It's pretty tough for Bilgewater and team to have a removal spell for this. Sure. Gives our Zed vulnerable. Okay. We can Fury of the North if we need to, or Flash Freeze if we need to. I don't think Zed's long for this world, but we can at least stop parts of this. Okay. Works for me. And we're just going to have to... I think we just need to be as like aggressive as we can next turn. So it's like we can Mentor... Probably want to boost the Lifeblade, and then we just can't play any more units. We can play the Conspirator next turn to like take the vulnerable off our Zed if we want, but we definitely have to open. The duo makes me kind of pause, but I think this is okay. It's just too easy for him to say like play a 4/4 here, and a 4/4 shuts down our Zed, but this gets a ton of damage in. Check it. It's not the pool party Zed. I haven't bought up any of the pool party skins. I've just been sticking to the prismatics. But maybe one day he'd like to jump in the pool party. So with this, I think I do want to protect our Zed here. So I'm going to play Ancient Yeti. I'm going to play the Conspirator to return our Zed. And then next turn, I'm going to look to just replay Zed on his turn and put together another open attack. Zed Part 2. Sure. Let's get some meat on the board first. As a good attack onto our mentor, I guess, but we should be able to cruise through here with the Elusives next turn.
You point, I shoot.
Okay. So how do we look at this? He's going to get the sapling. If we add Zed, then we can really only attack with like one more unit next turn. The Green Glade Duo would do more damage, but I think I prefer just to get down Zed and open. Got a lot on board he's going to have to deal with.
Who's on top of the bounty board
Okay.
today?
Walk softly, strike quickly. Shadows cut deep as any weapon.
So he can easily enough deal with the Zed. Like, he's going to throw 2 units in front of it, but then going to start eating damage on his Ancient Yeti blocks. Yep. Have to start dealing with these dum-dums though. So let's just get elusive stats on the board. Usari's the most expensive one we have. We're probably just going to be putting a Shadow Shift block in front of the Abyssal Eye to make sure our elusives stay alive. Disciplines is big. Gives us a nice way to close this out next turn.
They cannot strike what they cannot see.
Ooh, okay. I just saw this and assumed it was a fearsome, but he must be digging for the tools he needs here. Should be pretty good if that's his kind of play. Okay. We're not in atrocity range, are we? We aren't down below 13. Okay, that's the big thing to be mindful of here.
You call that sneaky?
Okay, then we can just replay the elusives. Our Ancient Yeti plan is done, right? This is never getting in for damage, so he's reasonable to return. We can technically still attack with Zed, since it can take down some of these units on the outside that aren't the Nautilus. But or we could just do this, which I like as well. Do I like this? I think this is okay. I don't really need to protect our Zed here, but bit of vengeance for us. Salvage doesn't seem quite what you're looking for. Probably good to see Unspeakable Horror go away, though. Nice.
They will all learn to fear my order.
Yeah, here we got more Zed with the Green Glade duo and a Yusari. Looks pretty good. Right on point with what we're trying to do. Yeah, not a bad little deck. No young witches is the only thing that makes me a little sad, but otherwise it's looking good. Definitely strong enough to go to 7. These decks, they can. There's the elusives will randomly run into matchups that are just abysmal, and so they'll fall that way. But this is certainly a deck good enough to get the distance. Okay, we're out here trying to play Zed. He's out here trying to play Frozen Thralls on the first turn that don't do anything till turn 9. Let's see, not a bad curve. We can't get Zed going until the 4th turn, but this is okay. So how does this mana actually play out? Like, I guess we're okay to just let Zed not have to save up the mana for Zed, right? If we wanted to stop and think about it, we could play nothing here, and then on turn 3, we could add a Green Glade duo, so we would have 2 mana banked. Then on turn 4, we could play Zed and have the 3rd mana banked for the Twin Disciplines. But I don't think we care against the Shurima deck. It should be reasonably tough for them to to play units big enough that Zed cares. And then if they just have the Twin Disciplines they have, or the Brittle Steel, then they have. It should be tough for this deck to have Brittle Steel, but let's see. Boom. So the same thing applies. We'll see what he adds. We can technically just not play anything this turn on turn 3, and then have the mana next turn. But we would much rather have a Green Glade duo on the board as opposed to having a Sparring Student on the board, is kind of the idea behind that line. But this is much more greedy when it does allow us to get the +2 onto all 3 of our units on the first turn, with the Zed coming into play and then his Living Shadow. All right, what you got for us? Just passes. I'm kind of tempted to just pass it back. That seems like he would, definitely be lined up to play a 4-drop plus a spell. See if he adds a 3 here. It kind of just depends on what his dude is. This looks like a great turn to add a Rock Bear card. I'm sorry, I trash on these the countdown landmarks quite a bit. No, I don't think they're very good. It's not opponent's fault. I just think it's kind of a extremely tough mechanic to get right. It's very easy for these countdown cards to just be like way too cheap and easy to get going. Okay, I think I just want to bank into the Zed turn. 3/3 should be enough for these guys. His attack's over, so we can add Zed now. He can't hit him with an exhaust. Get the open, we lose a couple points of stats, but he either has to choose if he wants to stop our Zed flip or if he wants to take down this rando Sparring Student.
Excuse us.
Yeah, appears as though he has something. Okay.
Claim what is ours.
Oh, sure. So we'll add the duo. This can be like a little dangerous if he has ice shards. But I don't think we're ever going to be like playing around ice shards here. Oh, did not expect a ground slam. Okay. So let's see if we can't just protect them with our spells next turn. Or we just draw more Zeds, right? That's another way to go about it. Just draw more Zeds.
We share the water's fortunes.
Right, let's see if he attacks. If we get the Zed down, then we can just open and have lethal with our duos.
Without a sound.
Ice shard, please. All right. Hopefully we're okay with the 2 combat tricks. Potentially getting a Fury of the North should we need it.
You disrupt our peace.
That doesn't seem relevant.
That's not tamper-proof.
All right, emote time. Kitty cat. Okay, good game, friend. Got here. Don't want Greenglade Elders. Don't want to trade out our Troll Chance. Then, like, how many Inspired Mentors do we really need? I think, like, I kind of want to hang on to the Ruthless Raider just to have a little bit of variety in what we're doing. I don't think 5 Mentors seems that great. If it was 5 Omen Hawks, I'd be all over it, but I think I'd rather just hang on to the Raider here. Right. Pre-final battle. Exciting stuff. Curious now, if you've seen the spoilers so far, there is a Yeti that I'm pretty interested in. It's the 5/5 for 8 mana. That round start, if you have 2 Yetis, it just comes into play, and then it has the play. Well, I should say it summons, and then if you have, if you actually play it, then you draw a Yeti from your deck. Seems incredibly powerful. It's just like cards like Tall Tales have always just felt like they were just maybe like 1 card away from being exceptionally good. So adding in additional Yetis, which is something I thought would eventually happen, adds a lot of power there. Yeah, what is this, Misfortune Swain? Excuse me, but I think he's going to be reasonably strong. Ugh, this is bad. This is not good for the home team. Another one of these, like, we have so many ones. Look at this. We have 2 Sparring Students, and Omen Hawk, the 4 Mentors. So we have 4, 6, 8 1-drops, and we just can't draw any of them. Okay.
Without a sound.
Finger on the trigger.
Oh no, he has Misfortune, so we just have to eat this. Okay, I think we're probably just too far behind now, but we'll see. We'll keep giving it a go. Get one of these big boys on the board now. So we should have good blockers from this point forward. We probably just want to keep it back, though. I don't think we need to rush in that damage. And might get a double attack at some point, but doesn't look like he's going to flip this turn, so we'll let it slide. Nice little usage of the Grenadier to get that plunder in. Not bad, my man. Not bad. Okay, so feels like we're probably going to need to harsh winds this turn. So let's get the Inspired Mentor going. Let's see if we can't get a takedown here.
Captain's orders. Bullet to the face.
I am a true master.
Make sure that doesn't facilitate a Swain flip. Gotta remember that putting these blockers out here is getting this additional non-combat damage going. A little bit scary.
The Yordle here's with me.
But we got some big boys down now. Tag our Zed.
Make it interesting for me.
We want to replay our other Zed. I don't think I'm like super excited about that. Kind of want to just get the Yeti down, but how often does he just get blanked? We can either add Conspirator Yeti or we can add Zed. Let's just do Yeti. We could potentially get an attack in with this Inspired Mentor this turn. Got his rally. See what happens here. We might get a good quick attack. Nope.
Got us covered.
But then his misfortune will be flipping next turn. Not going to survive this because of the thing. Okay. Alright, that Swain's flipped as well. We're going to take 3 from Misfortune, but as far as the rest of this goes... Oh man, he's going to get stuns as well. Okay, well we have a blocker at least. That's the big important thing here. With shared spoils, well, we can still do it. Okay. Bad combo with the old Misfortune and Swain. Oh man, is he gonna open? If he doesn't open and we get the Sejuani bump in? Oh man, oh man.
You own what you pick.
It's not...
All eyes on
Is that bad?
me.
What's our health? Are we at 7? Or are we... Oh, we're just dead. Okay, we're just dead. Alright.
These wounds only make us stronger.
Let's see. Don't really want more sparring students. I don't think we need pack mentalities. And I kind of like hanging on to the Flurry of Fists. So we'll just go ahead and skip over all of these. On to the next one. One of the classic problems with the Elusives decks, you just can't interact with anything, and so getting something high-powered down like Misfortune can be a bit of a problem. But we at least didn't have to deal with one of those draws to where they play like Make It Rain and just ace 3 of your dudes, and that was, you know. Also, we didn't have a play till the 3rd turn, and so I was glad that we were in it right till the end. Even when things weren't going spectacularly. Levi and Ash showed us. Oh boy. As bad as Death Ray is, it is fantastic against Elusives. Just typically what you see with Death Ray is like you're able to play it and kill off a unit, and then as time goes on, you're just holding on to a spell that doesn't do anything, but against Elusives, it tends to just come in and kill everything. Yep. This is another abysmal draw. I'll chant through this. We just have to get something going. We have to get this shared spoils down to hopefully draw a card. What up, Green Glade Duo? Okay. He missed his allegiance. And we're the one playing the Yetis. He's playing the cloning program deck, but we're the one deploying the Yetis on him. Oh snap! And there's one. Let's get the duo going. It should be kind of tough for him to play units that are stronger than our board. He could add like a Bull Elnick here, or You know, the way life goes, sometimes we'll probably see him just add in a add in a troop of Elnix and 2 bulls, but this seems fine. Decent chance that he's picked up his 3 damage burn spell at this point. I don't think the Greenglade duo is going to be long for this world, but the rest of our attacks are all good here. Oh, so he hasn't drawn it yet. That was a huge chunk of damage. So nice. We should be able to be pretty close to just repping lethal between Usari and Greenglade duo, having the Spirit's Refuge in our hand to protect from his burn spell. Seems good. Not what you're looking for here. I guess it's a blocker. Always important to have a blocker, but... Okay. And then this, I mean, he's got his burn spell. He's going to have to play it. I think we should just go ahead and do this now so that we can... Okay, that strike will still take it down. So that we can potentially just get more elusives going. I think this is okay.
Everything's better with company.
Says you.
So again, this Greenglade duo here on the left is going to be dead, but since we picked up the second one, the second duo plus the life blade. Oh fuck. And then add the life blade. Takes him to 1, but then he does have the burn spell to kill this thing. Or would we rather just play Swole Squirrel and know that he's gonna get a block in? I think this will take him down to 1. He has to block with the Outriders. We'll probably put the Outriders in front of Yeti, put the Ithid Stairs in front of this thing. Oh no, he has to Ithid Stairs down here. Okay. I just think like with this way, if we draw a second elusive, then we have the 2 elusives to try to punch lethal in with, to whereas if we added the life blade and took him to 1, then he's just gonna have a bunch of ground units.
Will no one listen?
Sting.
Look out there!
Double interesting. This could be a little dangerous, but if he only has 1 unit on the board and we have 3 units, then he's going to need a whole bunch of burn spells to get out of this. Not super unlikely. He has 5 cards and we know one of them's a removal spell, but I really like getting to take that unit down for free. Alright. Another good bro to bring to the party here.
Winter is the Freljord's true ruler.
Okay, so there's no need to attack with everything. We know that he has the burn spell to kill our life blade. So let's just attack with the Yeti, since I don't want to just be trading these units off here. Okay. You double elixir? Oh, the burn. Okay.
Sends chills up my spine.
That one has elusive.
A new
Bad as
era
that.
begins.
Certainly not good. We'll have to wait till next turn to add the duo to the board. And we just have to block, and Nivea's going to kill all of our units anyways. So let's prevent it like this. can't play the duo on our turn since the Rhyme Tusk Shaman will drop its attack down. So we'll have to wait till next turn to play it.
Ice runs in our veins.
Zed. Not quite what we're looking for. He doesn't do anything on this board. Are you going to do a Green Glade duo? Nice. Nice. Saving the day. Whew, that one was close. Alright, not knocking us out yet. Let's see, what do we got to improve with? Green Glade duos always feels like an improvement. I'm happy enough to pick up number 5. Move on to that pre-final battle. See if we can stop getting these really awkward draws. That would be a perk. Real bonus for sure. Cute but dumb. Nice. So let's see. It's Karma and Lux. It's kind of interesting. But this is a pretty good start. We got our early game bro package here. I think I'd rather Omen Hawk than the Sparring Student. We're just going to have a 1-1 this turn anyways, so might as well go ahead and get the +1/+1s going. Sure. Works for me. That big old trapper.
Whatever's needed. The Yordle here's with me.
Death Rays Part 2. Sure. We got the big boy package this game though, so maybe Death Ray won't be as bad for us, but it's still not something I'm really excited to be seeing. See how this goes. I mean, the Fey Guide and Raged Yeti combos, not that bad. Being able to make a big old 5/5 elusive. Okay, well, let's start with the Mentor. We're clearly going to have to take down the tasty Feyfolk. Seems safe. I guess it feels like he just clearly has the Death Ray Part 2, right? And then he realized, oh, I'm going to attack and Death Ray his unit, so my Feyfolk is going to die. So let's just throw our 4/4 in front of it. Because I do definitely want to get this thing off the board before it becomes time for this guy to start blocking. And now with this setup, we're coin flipping to draw our Enraged Yeti. So if we draw Enraged, we can play it plus Fey Guide or plus Ancient Yeti, however we want to go about this. Probably prefer to just play Fey Guide on this big one and then have the Ancient come down a little bit cheaper next turn. Beam. That's 2 spells. Okay. Alright, well, nothing we can do about that. But feels like we're pretty far ahead on board, and he's only got 1 card in his hand, so hopefully that's a positive for our team. Get these elusive Yetis in here. That's how you get a Bigfoot, right? You get your elusive Yeti. Nailed it. That's the way it's meant to be. The elusive Yetis call it the Bigfoot. Alright, so I'm going to just go ahead and add the Ancient. Gives us a unit to throw in front of his Feyfolk that he can't just trade with. Okay. And I have to imagine it's tough for him. Like, he can play Lux here. That would be the big blowout play to shut down what we're doing. But I think it's probably worth to just add the Green Glade. Now that he's added these Elusives in, it's like, what's the chance that he can get double blocks with these things? It seems like it's probably relatively high. So let's attack with this thing first. So this will shoot him back up to max health if he blocks with the Ancient. And we can start overwhelming and get the elusive damage in at the end. We don't want the elusives on the left because he'll, if he's at whatever health total this would be, like 12, he's going to gain that full amount. Not what we want.
How can I help?
Okay. Alright, Ancient Yeti, we'll give you a turn. Maybe we should just gone ahead and played it, so if we drew like a 3-cost unit here or something. Alright, just doesn't matter. We just need to not die here. Okay. So this should be fine. I'm gonna open with the elusives on the left, and then the Ancient, and then if he puts his Fey Folk plus something in front of Ancient Yeti, we can 3 Sisters into Entomb to make sure we get all that damage in. Nice, nice. Get ourselves right up here in this final battle. So, what do we got here? We got our first young witch. Man, but it's so tempting to take these trappers. We've had so much success with this Omen Hawk Averosian Trapper combo, but I can't pass up on the young witch. We just have way too many 1-drops for her to be not useful. The combo is just so strong in keeping those units going. Okay, a Hearthguard for Ruthless Raider. I think I'm okay with this. Again, it's not like super ideal late game, but once we get to this point to where, we're drawing elusives after turn 5, then having that bonus attack can be pretty useful. Interesting set here. Don't want to trade out the Trapper. I don't want the Usari. We already have 2. I think we probably just hang on to Twin Disciplines. We're pretty light on spells at this point, even though it's tough to pass up on Green Glade duos. Here, gotta skip all of these. I don't want Bjergs or Denies or Wayfinders, so that's a reasonable pass. Again, I want to hang on to Troll Chant as a spell. I think I am going to pick up Caught in the Cold. Vanguard's Edge just... Man, we have so many Green Glade duos, though. It's just like, if you're ever familiar with playing the tokens deck, and it's like you have a Omen Hawk and a Green Glade, or if you have a Sparring Suit and some Green Glade duos on the board, getting that duo attack and getting everything +2 is pretty huge. But I think I'm just going to pick up the interactive card and get rid of our Swole Squirrel. Alright, and the last one, I don't want any of these. We'll keep our interaction. Don't want Sown Seeds, it's trash, and then I don't want It That Stares, so that's a pretty easy skip. Alrighty. Ooh! Push ourselves right into this final battle. This I did want to draft Zed because it's been a while. I really like Zed. It's one of my favorite champions, but this is why I do try to spend a lot of time just going through and drafting the farthest champion back in the past. Like I'll occasionally get the comments where it's like, why don't you just come out here and try hard with the try hard champion every time? And it's like, because I don't want to just like sit here and have like a third of my videos be Zed and Callista. And so speaking of Zed and Callista, here we are in the final battle. But not a bad start here. I could see an argument for swapping out a Mentor. It's going to be a long time before we get to play the second one. Get the Trapper. Okay. Not bad. And this is always a classic trouble spot, is to if you want to boost your Zed to make him stronger, but then he's like such a high value target that your opponents try to just take him down quite frequently. So I'm going to spread the love out here. I'm just going to go with the Conspirator boost, and then we'll play Zed on turn 3. I usually make the argument for taking this trade just to get the big unit on the board, but it's like the easiest way he's going to have to take down our Zed is a black spear. And so if his keeper is turned into whatever this is, escaped abomination, and he gets to like abomination block Zed, then it gives him another way to take him down. Right, nothing we can do about that. That's fine. I still think that was a pretty good way to go about that to try and protect our Zed. Now I'm much more willing to try and take down the Cursed Keeper since it's gonna switch into let him play his Spirit Leeches and play his what are the other ones called? The Spirit Leech and the other Blighted Caretaker is the one I was mainly worried about here. Okay. Don't think we need to hit the Usaris. These are definitely strong enough to go ahead and take down his Maokai. So I'm gonna give the boost to our Overwhelm. Probably can't attack after this. He's going to play a unit and get the sapling, but get to take down his Maokai and have a good conspirator hit.
That egg, did it move? Flying away.
Okay. Works for me. I was mainly just worried about him getting the saplings so he can contest our elusives. Okay. Good for us. He needs to be getting on board, and that's not what he's doing here. So if he has something like Spirit Fire, that could be a real pain in the butt. Withering Whale, we're kind of okay-ish against, but we'll have to see. Attacks all seem horrible, but I'm willing to play into it. Man, look what we're seeing here. If we had chosen to put the +1 boost onto a Usari, we'd be repping lethal here. And I guess I should have. Now that I say that, we could have just played Inspired Mentor as well, is the means to get that boost on our units. But there's the Blighted Caretaker. Take our 3/2s. Do we have to worry about Nasus? He should be pretty far away from getting a Nasus kill on us. I don't think this guy's gonna ever do anything. My idea is I want to play Usari, and then next turn I want to get the Mentor Yeti going. I guess we should probably do this. If we're going to attack with the Yeti, this is damage that we'll be getting through next turn. It's kind of like a pseudo attack here in the sense that our Overwhelm unit's going to be coming through. And then we'll just add in everything.
You'll soon understand my methods.
Seems like he just wants to play a Vengeance. All right, my man, what you got for us? Okay. So no hooks. I want this Usari damage coming through. Is this lethal? It was lethal. Oh, he's got cards now. I was like, I better see if this is just lethal. But okay. But yeah, we were never going to get a good attack with the Inspired Mentor. Good. Not quite what we're looking for, but yeah, you got some stats on him. This is the part that worries me, getting this last bit of damage in against the control deck here. Just have to see what he does. Just sapling? Oh, Scribe of Sorrow is made of sapling. That sucks. Go ahead and we'll add the Mentor here. He's a good blocker. He's definitely hooking our Ancient Yeti. My concern here was if we can actually get wider than him is what we're looking to do. Just going to pass it now. I'd say he almost certainly has a unit. So we'll see. We'd rather just get this bonus next turn if we can, or I mean, we could maybe open attack if he just has to have a unit here though. Okay. Let's punch it in while we can. He's got the good block onto our Enraged Yeti, but the rest of his blocks aren't spectacular. What a bunch of turds to come through and draw. All of our bonuses went onto some really low quality units. Alright, well this at least gets him into kill you with basically any elusive range. So that's a little scary. I mean, he's got a ton of cards in his hand. So I'd say that that's really the only realistic way we have to win this is just to play an elusive and hope he doesn't have enough. Can't kill through the Rekindler with this Yeti. That is this. We just have to take this damage. We can't add our units onto this board. Not against the 3 saplings. Okay. Then I'm just gonna hang on to this. We could have made a play like like we did before if we had more units to where we try to put damage onto the Rekindler, but I think this is okay. I mean, we just have to hope we hit a lethal elusive here. Sure. We do all this. This is going to be a 5 mana play. Okay, let's see. We can Fury of the North onto our dude. Oh, Nasus is the one that we can't beat. This is it. Oh no, is this 5 mana? Yeah, Entomb is 5 mana. Okay. All right, all right. No vengeance, please. No vengeance. All right, that's how you do it. Did we get it? Did we get it? Are we there? One-time dealer? No. Ah, fuck. Whatever. Oh man, we get the top deck to be good enough, and it's just not quite there. But hey, we put ourselves in a spot to where we could be lethal. We could have picked up any elusive except for Young Witch. Could have picked up any of the other elusives in our deck. We put ourselves had the means to get a lethal out of our Enraged Yetis. I don't know if we had any more. We probably had more inspired mentors in our deck, but that also put us in a spot to where we could double mentor our Yeti and he could kill through a Rekindler. And so, you know, when you come down to spots like that and they have the vengeance, you just have to play like they don't have it, right? If we're going to be like, if he has the vengeance, how do we ever win this game? We can't. And so if you can't actually beat the vengeance, then you just play as though they don't have it. And I thought we got ourselves in a pretty good spot to close that one out. He just had all the tools he needed right there at the end. And so, yeah, not bad, especially in a matchup where we didn't draw Zed. And so, again, that's these elusives decks are super strong in that sense. Like I I don't think we lost a game where we drew Zed. I can't remember back to this other game where we had like really awkward draws, and it feels like we had that might have been the game where we had a really weird draw and played like Zed on turn 3 or turn 4 or something with nothing on 1 or 2. But that's as far as that final battle goes, I have to imagine the games. Oh, we did draw Zed, and he just had the answer to it. He had the weight of judgment, and so I guess I have to take that comment back. But nonetheless, this was a fairly standard Elusives run. I thought we got some pretty useful bonuses out of the Freylord cards. I thought at least the big theme that I tried to push and wanted to say and make my point of, as much as I babbled on about our non-existent 5/5, our non-existent 7/7 for 5 mana, as you can see in those games, as to where your ground-based units tend to be fairly useless at the end of the game because your opponent just has so many units on board, right? We're never blocking with Young Witch. We're never blocking with Green Glade Duo. Rarely blocking with like Navori Conspirators and Kinku Lifeblades. We're never blocking with Shadow Assassins if we had them. And so your opponent just tends to build up all these units on their board. And so when it comes to the late game, again, just playing those big vanilla units doesn't really do anything. And so I thought that was a pretty neat usage of the Freylord cards, and at least having Sejuani and the Ancient Yetis as units that can crunch through some damage in the late game, even if our opponent has blockers on board. So yeah, not a bad little combo. But again, if you're looking to draft this on your own, Green Glade Duo is your unit of choice and ultimately the most important card that you can find after your Zeds. Young Witch, fantastic unit. I would have loved to have had way more of them. I didn't get to showcase her here, but you can imagine these games to where we play Mentor on 1, Young Witch on 2, Mentor on 3 with a Green Glade Duo on 3, and then our Mentors become 3/1 quick attackers. That gives us good units that our opponent can't just virtual card advantage them out with, right? If our opponent plays a 3/3 for 3 on 3, then our Young Mentor is shut, or our Inspired Mentor is shut down, but the Young Witch lets them continue in for damage. So all in all, pretty important in that sense. And then I think the only other real things to call out here are we would have ideally had some bounce spells. I was I assured you that we would see more homecomings and more whatever the 5 mana bounce spell is called along the way. We did not. I can't be right 100% of the time, but you typically will find some kind of bounce spell, and it really just helps you play the tempo game. And then you again want to keep your combat tricks cheap. So one of the perks of picking up the Freylord here was access to Elixir of Irons and Brittle Steels, which we didn't actually find. Things like Troll Chant. It's just very easy to get in additional combats, since you want to be playing so many units so early in the game. Winning one of those combats with a 1 mana combat trick could be huge, and so very tough to find spots to play your Twin Disciplines or Fists of Furies, but it's very easy to find that 1 mana to come in and save your units. And so yeah, hopefully that helped you out with your elusive trials. And then, as we said on the site, if you go to the tier list, drop your way down to Zed. We also have these guides down here. And so the Elusives deck guide should be pretty close to what we are looking for and what we talked about here. We're aggressive. The units are unblockable. The Green Glade Duo is the key unit. You really want Ionia to be your only faction, and then limit your spells to chief combat tricks and bounce. I think we pulled that off pretty handily here. The core cards, the Green Glade Duo and Young Witch out front. Your end game either being units with Elusive and the Empyrean and the Windfarer Hatchling, or the Jeweled Protector to give your Elusives in hand +3/+3. I think we kind of touched on everything here. And so I'm hoping with these, with these pictures, these should be able to help you, just kind of piece everything together. My grand idea and grand scheme of things with these is if you're really looking for an in-depth guide and something to really touch on everything that you can do with Elusives, and we have these videos. That's probably what you're here for, watching what you're watching today. But then, if you're just looking for something real quick, you're taking a dump and drafting at work, and you don't have the time to watch a hour and 15-minute long video, then you got this nice little infographic that'll hopefully get you what you're trying to do before your deuce is done. But that is going to do it for us today. I think the weekly rewards are out and about, and so we got a couple of those things to click on. Looks like we got some loots as well. Let's see what shows up here. As usual, we got to come in and just pick up the actual unit. It's weird seeing Mark of the Isles. It's been removed from Expedition. I'm surprised they haven't put it back in, but maybe it's too off theme as far as as far as Shadow Isles is concerned. Okay, so there is that. We got the weekly vault. Didn't get my way up to the triple diamonds. I haven't had as much time to play this week since we've been out here trying to update the site, but I think we're doing just fine as far as rewards go. All these things just turning into shards anyways. Even the epics out here turning into shards. Right. Coastal Defender, I'm ready to see you show up in Expedition. He still hasn't made his way to the promised land of Runeterra Limited, and so I felt like he was going to be stronger, potentially stronger than Sparring Student in the Sparring Student style decks. Just having so much health, I might have been kind of wrong on that, but I still think he should be a pretty fantastic unit in the limited formats. That's where it seems like he was made for, right? He seems a little bit too expensive for constructed, unless you're trying to make some kind of like Mimi OTK elusive deck where you give him elusive and throw down a bunch of dudes. Feels like he was probably an expedition hopeful. But nonetheless, that will do it for us today. Hope you all learned how to elude your opponents a little bit better. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.